it'll be the 25th anniversary of the crackdown on practitioners of Falun Gong in China. And that will mark 25 years of quite brutal persecution against people simply because of the faith that they have, the beliefs that they hold. And I think if there's one thing that should unite Australians, and it should unite us really as citizens of the globe, that people should be entitled to practice their faith. They should be entitled to practice their religion without persecution, without imprisonment, and sometimes, as we've seen in China, without having your life taken, because that's your faith and that's your belief. And I think we should be very clear about why it was that the crackdown commenced. The crackdown commenced not because the government wanted to pick apart one element of the faith of Falun Gong and the practicings of Falun Gong. The reason the crackdown happened was because the government saw it as a challenge. Saw any kind of collective organisation, any kind of collective belief that they couldn't control as a challenge to the powers of the Communist Party in China. And they couldn't tolerate it. And so the brutal crackdown commenced. And we know that that has meant thousands and thousands of practitioners being put in jail, in long-term prison camps. We know that there is appalling evidence too of Falun Gong practitioners being executed and then their organs being fed into an illegal medical regime in China. And our government should speak clearly about this and speak strongly against that. It is time to reflect on just what a brutal 2.5 decades practitioners have had. And it is time to reflect on whether or not our government has done enough to strengthen our laws to ensure that nobody comes from China or any other regime and engages in unethical organ harvesting. Has our government done enough to make it clear in our bilateral exchanges with China that the persecution of practitioners of Falun Gong should not be tolerated by the rest of the world? When we bring up other human rights concerns like the Uyghurs and Tibet and democracy more broadly. So I want you to know that I'm here in my capacity as a Senator for New South Wales, a member of my party, the Greens, and we're here in solidarity with you. And we're reflecting on you, the hurt and the pain of the ongoing persecution and acknowledgement of just so much harm has happened in the last 2.5 decades. And I'm sure for many of you, as you gather with your families and friends in 2 days' time on the 20th of July, it'll be a hard time for you. But I hope you know that you have friends in the Australian community who absolutely respect your right to practice your religion and your faith and your beliefs. And that should be an inalienable right, whether it's in Australia or China or anywhere else on the planet. So it's with a message of solidarity, a message of support, and a message, hopefully, to give you courage to continue to practice your beliefs. Be who you are. Believe in what you believe. Because that should be your right in Australia or China. Thanks very much.